Hey, it's Matt, your average gamer, and Euporia has received a massive buff in 1.13. This weapon is now incredible. We're going to go over where to get everything to make a cool build around it, including the weapon itself. This is now an amazing Holy and Faith weapon. So the weapon itself now does more holy damage on the weapon as well as the beam itself. That beam lasting longer though is the bigger deal. As you get hits in, which now build up the Ash of War quicker, and the Ash of War builds up a beam essentially with the more hits you do. I like to use the charge attacks. We're going to go over them. They do a lot of damage. And then once you get that beam now, the second version of the beam, there's going to be two, a shorter and a longer duration one. The longer duration one now does massive damage. Basically, it's a mini Comet Azure, but holy version. I know it's a lot of information, but they did a lot with Euphoria in the recent patch for Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. One thing to mention here is, just to sum it up and make it real quick for you guys, there's the longer beam there. As you get in hits, you're going to build up that beam on its Ash of War, which is basically holy spinning weapon, and then you'll be able to use it, either a shorter or longer version, depending on how many hits you get. I want to mention real quick, by the way, that we're going to show all the items for this build, everything you need to know. We're going to show the buffs as well, where you can get everything on the map, and how to get Euporia itself, because it could be a little bit complicated to get. I actually showed it in my last video. Although the last video was a pre-patch version, this weapon is now much better than it was, and honestly, it's a fantastic Holy and Faith option. And we're going to get to use the longer version here as well. You're going to get to see that again. We're going to go over those incredible charge attacks and continue to go over everything you need to know. Now, I really love this weapon. Honestly, Euporia needed this buff. This was a buff that this weapon truly needed for it to be what it honestly should be at the end of the day. It should be a Holy Comet Azure. That was the point after all. And before this, it wasn't really that usable. It was just kind of cool. And now it kind of flipped to where it's absolutely usable. And honestly, this could be a really amazing weapon for DLC. Keep in mind, compared to the base game, Euphoria is going to be great for the DLC because holy damage is pretty good to begin with. Even the final boss's first phase takes neutral holy damage. I think it's 40% in phase 2. Putrescent Knight takes additional holy damage. Commander Gaius takes additional holy damage. Overall, this could end up being a very good weapon for Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. I'm just showing off random clips here, by the way, because this was the testing I did after the patch, so these clips are essentially from the testing I was doing, but this is honestly one of my favorite weapons now, and I think it's going to be one of your favorite weapons too, especially if you like Faith builds. Alright, now it's time to show off those charge attacks. Look at these charged hits. Wow, I mean, that's incredible. I think that was 3 charge hits, 10,000 damage. That's pretty awesome. We got a posture break in there, and then we beat Commander O'Neill. They're actually really amazing now. Those charged hits, if you build around them, use them first, and then build up the beam, you're going to have yourself a really good build. Alright, now let's go over the buffing order, then we're going to go over the build, we're going to go over stats, equipment, everything you need to know. First things first, you're going to drink your tear, then you're going to cast Golden Vow. We always go from longest to shortest duration. The last thing you're going to use is Hellish Shabriri for another 25% damage, which only lasts 40 seconds. Then after that, you could fill up your FP, and there's the moveset here. We've got our light attacks, which are pretty amazing on any Twin Blade, and then those awesome charge attacks that could do massive damage. It's a great way to build up the beam, and then you essentially have Holy Spinning Weapon, which turns into the Holy Comet Azure as you build it up. Let's go over equipment. And for equipment, we have Euphoria, preferably plus 10. We have the Erdtree Seal. We hit 51 poise. Shard of Alexander, that quest line's in the description. Axe Talisman, Ritual Swords Talisman, Sacred Scorpion Charm, Spike Crack Tier, and Holy Tier. And for stats on this build, we are a Faith build. This is going to scale pretty much with your Faith stats. So we have 70 Faith, 60 Vigor, 20 Mind, 25 Endurance. We have 16 Strength and 20 Dexterity. And of course, we're using Golden Vow, Hellish Shabriri, and we have multi-layered Ring of Light. If you grab this incantation, it's perfect with this build because it does pure holy damage. Overall, this is going to give you a well-rounded Euporia build. And where do you get everything for this build? We're going to start with the Axe Talisman, which you get at Mistwood Ruins. You can grab that there. And the Charged Tier as well to work on those charged hits. You can grab that at the Erdtree there. At the Smoldering Church, you can grab the Sacred Scorpion Charm, which is going to be amazing and boost holy damage by 12%. And next up here at this minor Erdtree, you can get the Holy Tier. That's another 20% for your holy damage, which is amazing. Then right here at Lux Ruins, you can grab the Ritual Swords Talisman, which is 10% more damage when you're at full HP. And then here's where we get the Golden Vow incantation at Corpse Stench Shack, which, by the way, you're going to have to go outside Volcano Manor and pass the Ulcerated Tree Spirit down there. You can grab that. As for Howlish Shabiri, that buff is past the Minor Earth Tree up here at the Frenzy Flaming Tower. That's an amazing incantation for this build. And then lastly here, if you want to grab the Faith tier as well, it's somewhere in this area down below the bridge. It's by some plants down here in the Weeping Peninsula. I recommend having this one anyway because it's great for using your buffs. And I'm going to show you real quick on the map where to get Euporia itself, right there at Spiral Rise. You're going to follow me on screen. That's going to be the end portion of this video. I'm not going to talk over this whole part, though. You could follow me directly if you want to grab this weapon. And, of course, don't forget to sub for more builds. And if there's any builds that you want to see, be sure to comment below. I will catch you guys in the next one.